a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
Well, all right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the LCG Premier Pop Culture Auction Preview on Sports Cards Live. It is Wednesday, October the 18th, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee. As always, I want to thank everybody who is joining us. Thanks to all the subscribers, podcast listeners. This episode will be available on the Sports Cards Live Auction podcast later on today as well. If you're not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast, please take a moment and do so. But let's get on with the show. Let's bring out our guest, Mr. There he is, Mr. Mark Montero, founder of LCG Auctions. Welcome back, Mark. I got to ask, how are you doing today? It's an exciting day. The LCG Fall Premier Pop Culture Auction. It's your biggest so far. How are you feeling right now?
It's been great. This is our biggest thus far, as you said, and the feedback, we opened last Friday, and the feedback has been unbelievable thus far. We have something like 246 items. I think our last auction was around 150. So just a tremendous response from consigners. And some of this stuff is coming out of the woodwork. It's stuff that you see once a decade, and it's really exciting.
Well, it's I've gone through it. I've skimmed over it. I like to be a little surprised as we do this show and see some things for the first time. But the selection does look amazing, and I'm looking forward to learning more and more about it. Want to welcome everybody to the chat, guys. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to put them in there. We're going to bring out our special guest who you saw a glimpse of a few seconds ago there. Ferruccio Lembo will be joining us shortly. He is a Masters of the Universe expert, among other things. Also want to let everybody know to register for LCG Auctions. The website is just below Mark right now, lcgauctions.com. You can go there, you can register, and then you'll be able to see everything that's available. And there are some really, really cool pieces. I'm looking forward to learning more and more about them. The auction ends October 29th, which is 11 days from now. We'll be doing another show here on the channel, here on Sports Cards Live. Mark and I, perhaps we're bringing on a special guest. We'll see. And we're going to be watching the items end in extended bidding. Should be really exciting. Mark, before we get into, is there an item, anything in particular? What's your favorite item in this auction, if you're willing to share?
Oh man, there's so many that stick out to me. I mean, the He-Man AFA 85 with clear bubble. We haven't seen. Since I've been around, I have not seen one ever hit the market. So we've had an AFA 80 sell for $32,000. This is an AFA 85, which is much rarer. So that's going to be very interesting. We have a Ben Kenobi prototype with the first double telescoping lightsaber prototype. It's called a mushroom tip lightsaber. I'm not an expert on that, but I know that Star Wars collectors are really excited about that. That one has an estimate, I think, between 25 and 50,000, and it's at like 3,500 or 3,000 right now. So we're probably going to get a lot of action leading up to the 29th. But 44 platinum items, I think our all-time high has been 20 or so. So we doubled this auction. I mean, this auction is going to be very hard to top. This is, I don't know how we can top this.
I feel like you said that last time, and I checked. I think last time there were 17 platinum lots, 44 this time. And as you mentioned to me before we went live, like there's just some of the items that may not even be platinum could be some of your best items in another auction. So, I guess when you say that this is going to be hard to top, I got to ask, like, what are you going to do next time? Well, how are you just going to have to work extra hard, do more grinding to bring more items out of the woodwork?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going through a cycle where maybe the old guard is unloading now and it's getting into new collectors' hands. And these are collectors. These aren't speculators or flippers. These these items are not going anywhere unless they choose to upgrade. And it's a lot of times it's guys that don't need the money, and these are going away for a while.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of the woodwork, and I'm always kind of nervous for the next sale because I don't know what's coming. Somehow it's managed to work itself out, which is really good. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, we're gonna get into something. I'm just gonna run through for everybody some of these categories. So, and I mean, I remember last time we've had Apple iPhones here before, but you've got 11 items in the Apple and tech category this time. That seems great. 50 Star Wars items, 16 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, 37 Masters of the Universe He-Man items, 19 Transformers, 27 G.I. Joe, 24 VHS and video games, 13 M.A.S.K, 23 Barbie and Beanie Baby. When I saw the Barney and Beanie Babies category this time, I got excited. My daughter, we have a ton of Barbies in our house. I was a part of the Beanie Baby hype back in the 90s. Not crazy, but I had a few pieces. You know, I could be found to buy the odd piece back then. I know, laugh if you will, but it was pretty. You know, back then it was fun. 44 platinum lots, as we've said, and perhaps the best item may be the original sealed 4 GB iPhone that comes with an Apple Store receipt. Have you ever offered an iPhone with the Apple Store receipt before? And how? What does that add to the item?
It's just an extra bonus, I guess, as it you know, for provenance. You know, some people you look for something that's like a little bit different, and this one, man, this one came to us, I think. So we went live on Friday. I think this arrived, I want to say Monday or Tuesday. I mean, it came last second. I had no idea it was out there. The guy contacted us. I think either Friday or Monday, and it came on Tuesday. And it was just a great item to include. I was like, let's get, if you can overnight it, I think we can get it in. The receipt, you can make out all the details on the receipt. It was purchased, I believe, in August, which is like right before they discontinued the 4 GB model. But it's in pristine condition. Awesome. The last one we had sold for 190,000, which was a surprise to us. I think the estimate was between 50 and 100. It almost doubled the high estimate. Record times 3. I think the highest before that was 63,000 for an 8 gig. So this one's another 4 gig, same as the 190K, but with receipt, with the original, the Apple bag, and it's from the original owner who bought it at the Apple Store. So very cool item.
Very cool for sure. All right, well, let's bring out our guests. We're going to go through some of the items. And what do you think, Mark? Should we start with the Masters of the Universe, the He-Man, and bring out Ferruccio Lembo, special guest coming in all the way from Germany? Let's bring him out. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Ferruccio Lembo, Masters of the Universe expert, co-founder of Toyplosion, the biggest vintage toy show in Europe. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello.
What time is it over in Germany right now?
Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Mark. Nice to be with you. Right now it's 1:10 in the morning, 1 a.m.
Well, thank you for staying up and joining us.
Of course, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's so neat to be able to learn from somebody who's been in it so long, and from the standpoint that you're in it. Why don't you let us get to know you a little bit? Tell us a bit about your collecting history, what it is about Masters of the Universe that you love so much, and a little bit about Toyplosion as well, your vintage toy show that you've been running over in Germany.
Yeah, I'm collecting since 2002. It started when I was like 21 years old, and I remember it that Masters of the Universe was one of the most exciting things in my childhood. I loved to play with the toys, all the memories, and yeah, it was a big part of my childhood, and one of the really beautiful part. And so I started already as a young guy with 21 years to buy back the items I had as a child. So It was some sentimental, the memories. That was the reason I started with Masters of the Universe, and it's still today one of the reasons I'm still into it, because it brings back the probably the best years of my life when I was a little child playing. And yeah, as a child, you don't have other things you need to think about. You don't need to pay bills or take care of anyone. You're just enjoying your time as a child. And Masters of the Universe was a great part of it for me. So, then basically I collected all the 20 years, and I had bigger collections, less bigger collections. And with the time, I met a lot of people, and the community built up. And in the nowadays, it's a big part of my life. Basically, I have every day I work with Masters of the Universe, and we are leading a big community here in Germany. We are called MOTU Bros Masters of the Universe fan community. It's a group on Facebook, and we are 5 admins. And we met together a year ago at another toy fair here in Germany, and we had the idea to bring something new, because we are specific toy fairs here in Germany for Star Wars, and there is only Star Wars. For Masters of the Universe, there is only Masters of the Universe. And we said, like, we need something which bring all toy lines together. And so we had the idea to found the Toyplosion, most powerful retro toy show in Germany. And then like after a year of planning, the 26th August this year, it was our first Toyplosion, and it was a big success. We were sold out, and it was amazing. I think I can sure say we are the biggest toy fair in Europe, which includes all toy lines. You can find everything with us. You can find Transformers, Lego, Masters of the Universe, Star Wars, all the toy lines from the 80s and 90s. Yeah.
Thanks for taking us through that. And congratulations on the show and for being recognized for what you're doing there, Mark. When Ferruccio mentioned that 20 years ago he got back into Master of the Universe, and he was buying the toys that he grew up with, it reminded me of Peter Garcia, who was our guest last time during your summer auction, and he said the same thing. And it speaks to what I like about that is it speaks to what you said earlier, that these are going into collections. A lot of people are upgrading. Some of the old guard might be moving around or moving on, but a lot of these are moving into collections of people like Ferruccio, people like Peter Garcia, and they're not going to become available, likely not going to become available again until they either upgrade or they move on, decades down the road. So it's an interesting culture, and excited to dive in and learn more. So what do you think? Should we get in and have a look at some of these Masters of the Universe items that are on the platform this month? Everyone ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I'm going to open up the auction here. I'm going to go, and for everybody watching, again, lcgauctions.com. You can go there, see the whole auction, register to bid. If you're not yet registered, you can go through the different categories here. We're going to go straight to He-Man and Masters of the Universe, 37 items. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark to guide us through and talk to Ferruccio about the items, and I will navigate the screen for you guys. So Mark, why don't you just let me know by lot number, and that'll make it easy for me to get to it.
So 37 items this time. Normally we only have 15, 18 Masters of the Universe. This time we have so many. And it's important to keep in mind that a lot of these, pretty much all of these, are extremely difficult to get. If you were to go on eBay, you may find an example of one of the action figures, but it's going to have a yellow bubble. It's not going to be in good condition. These are really, really fine examples, and it's a carefully curated selection here. So this is something that all Masters of the Universe, the high-end collectors, they look forward to these sales and look forward to what we're going to have out. And we certainly delivered with this offering. So I want to go through probably at the top. We'll start out with the big one at the top, Jeremy, the He-Man in 85. That's a big piece, Ferruccio. Since I started getting into this in 2020, I
Yeah.
have not seen an 85 clear 8-back hit the market. I have not seen one. We've had two 80s. The highest 80 sold for $32,000, I believe, a year ago, and here we have an 85. So tell us, how rare is this? You've been around for 20 years with clear bubble. What are we looking at here?
You already said you had already two 80s, and the swing between an 80 and an 85 in quality and in rarity, it's very huge. I mean, it's just a subgrade of 5, but in total, it means so much. To find this figure in this amazing condition, it's almost impossible. Yeah, and of course you find him, like you said, in less better condition, maybe a 75 or an 80. Many of them are yellow. This is one of the most beautiful examples I saw in over 20 years. Yeah, with this clear bubble, the legs position are perfect. Often the legs are moved to one side and the other leg to the other side, and something is not okay. But on this piece, I couldn't find any flaws. It's really an amazing piece, and the rarity, it's incredible. You will probably find in, let's say, 5 years, you will have the chance to buy 2 or 3 80s if you always look into LCG, of course. But an 85, it's almost impossible. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity to get one of the rarest items in the best condition you can have. Yeah, I never saw a 90, never. So basically, that's the best I have ever seen.
Yeah, this one's a prime example. The view from the side, crystal clear.
Crystal clear. There is really not even the smallest taint of yellow. It's like you look through a fresh polished window. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, subgrades are 80, 85, 85, which it's amazing. And yeah, like I said, it's the best one I have seen in 20 years. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So we have this, and then we have, let's go back, Jeremy. This is an early release He-Man, and right next to it, we have the very first release of Castle Grayskull. And we have sold one in the past. I believe we sold one 2 years ago, also an AFA 80. This is a different AFA 80. So we sold the first one. It went for $22,000 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I have not seen an 8-back factory sealed since our sale. I have not seen a different one hit the market. This is the next one since then. This example right here, also an 80. It's been freshly recased. We had it recased by AFA, so it looks beautiful. It actually presents much better than the pictures, believe it or not. This thing is awesome and hard to get. Ferruccio can speak to the rarity of this one.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, basically for all the 8-back items, we are talking about a high-end rarity, because the 8-backs are the first that ever came out back in 81 and 82. And for the advanced collector who wants to have the rarest items, all the 8-backs are really hard to find. But then it comes to conditions, and to find such a great box, because it's really huge. And find it in this great condition. Look, there are no creases. The edges are very sharp and the beautiful colors. There is no color breaking. It's an amazing piece. And I know a lot of big collectors, many important collectors, which I learned over the years. And I don't know many who has an 8-back Castle Grayskull. One of the biggest collectors I know, he looked on his own for years to have one, and it was one of the last items he was still looking for. Like you said, in many years, you have one opportunity or two opportunities to get one in these conditions. It's similar to the He-Man, because it's such an iconic item, Castle Grayskull. Every child had Castle Grayskull. Everyone knows Castle Grayskull. It's one of the most iconic item, and that's the first one that ever came out that hit the market back in '81. That's the one.
Right.
I mean, 81. We are at 2023. Such an old toy in this condition that speaks on his own.
Right. So the keys for the line, the toy line, Ferruccio, in my opinion, He-Man, Skeletor, Castle Grayskull. For anybody entering that's starting to collect, those are kind of the three most iconic
Exactly.
pieces.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go to this is the big, the big play set is the Castle Grayskull. We also have a Snake Mountain, which is Skeletor's play set.
Right.
And we have this one, lot 22. Now this is a rare first release. There's a few differences between the first release and the subsequent releases. And Ferruccio can speak to that and can speak to the rarity on this. You probably know a lot more about this one than I do, Ferruccio.
Yeah, so the first release has on the box saying "I am the spirit of Snake Mountain," which later was removed and replaced with "I am the voice of Snake Mountain," because the word spirit was too evil to Mattel for publicity, so they switched the name back to voice, which is it's better for kids. That was the meaning of the switch. And the spirit box, it's way rarer and hard to find, especially in sealed and beautiful condition like this one. I mean, it's a 75, but when we are talking about sealed castles, it's already hard to find sealed ones. Yeah. When you look into eBay, you will not find a sealed Snake Mountain. You will probably find 10 or 15 which are opened and complete, but you will not find a sealed one. That these are items which are hitting the market extremely rare. It's really rare to see these items hit the market, and especially with the spirit on the box on the front, it's really hard to get. Hard to get.
Now, Ferruccio, the bottom burst in the corner, from what I understand, is a little bit different too. Do you know what the later release says? This one says "The Voice of Evil." Do you remember what the second release?
No, I need to be honest. Right now, I don't know the text on the later one. For me, it's already the name, the spirit, which switched to voice. Spirit sounds way cooler to me. Yeah. And always when I had a Snake Mountain in my collection, I wanted to have the spirit version and not the voice version. That's the hugest switch, which to a later version. I mean, also later version is nice to have, but to have it with the spirit of Snake Mountain instead of the voice, the spirit, it's that's the original. That's the one that you want to have. And it says also on the label, it's a 75 plus, which is really great for such a box.
Right. So collectors have the opportunity to get one or both of the very first releases of these playsets.
Right.
See on the label, as he said, "The Voice of Evil," Starburst. It's the Spirit version, which I guess it's known as the Spirit Snake Mountain, Ferruccio.
Yeah, right. That's what I mentioned. The Spirit Snake Mountain. Yeah, that's between among the collectors, it's known as the Spirit Snake Mountain. Yeah.
Great opportunity, stuff you just don't see, and it's available. You have to have at least, those that don't know, you have to have at least one bid in the system to qualify for extended bidding, which takes place on the 29th. So it can be a minimum bid, but you have to have one bid on each item of interest in order to have the option on the 29th. So Jeremy, if we could go back to the main page for Masters of the Universe.
Sure thing. We had a question mark that came in a few minutes ago. I think it'd be a good time to just go to that really quickly. CC here says, amazing items in the auction. With sports cards, it's common to quote the population counts. Is it common to provide some population information in the pop culture world, some info on the numbers might be useful. So can either of you speak to that? And is it common or not as common as sports cards?
It's we have a bit of an issue because AFA has not released their pop reports publicly, but we've been working on them with a select group of items in this auction where we will be adding to the descriptions probably early next week. I have received some that I will share during this live. I have some G.I. Joe populations, some Star Wars. I have not received the Masters of the Universe yet, but yeah, that would be great to add. And the thing is that a lot of these are going to be like pop 10 and under, all grades.
Yeah,
all grades. Like for the Castle Grayskull, I haven't seen that one yet, but I think there's less than 10 total graded first releases.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, it just goes to show how rare this stuff really is. Which just sort of validates what Ferruccio has said about he's never even seen an AFA 85 Grace or 90 Grayskull. Like it's pretty interesting to hear that. So okay, anything else?
Yes, I also thought that's a good question because that's the special thing about LCG. We have amazing items here which highly rare popularity. I'm such a expert collector. I know almost the most collections of the big boys, and I know for a fact that of these items there aren't many out there. Yeah, either 8-pack He-Man 85, 8-pack Grayskull 80, and many others we have in this auction. There aren't many out there. Yeah, we will come to some gift sets which I know only 2 people in over 20 years which own one. Yeah, that's almost impossible. You will never have a chance in your life to own one. So, and here you have your chance.
So we actually received the 8-back playset, the 8-back vehicles, and the Battle Cat all came from the same collection, which is amazing to have everything. Also, the Wind Raider is another. Ferruccio, this is an 85 Wind Raider. So we had an 85 Battle Ram, I believe at the beginning of the year, which is kind of the other vehicle. This is the Wind Raider, 85, super tough grade to find for 8-back.
Yeah, of course.
The Battle Ram went for what, Ferruccio, like $20,000 or so.
I think it was
22,000, something like that, which was it was a beautiful example for an 85. And here's the companion piece, the Wind Raider. We've never had I don't think we've even had an 80 in the auction. This is the first release. Talk about the Battle Ram, the Wind Raider, and the Battle Cat, Ferruccio, in 8-back.
Yeah. It's like I said for the items before, especially on the He-Man, between an 80 and an 85, there is a huge swing for collectors, for the high-end collectors. Sometimes when you hold an 80 in hands, you're looking on it and you think like, man, that's case fresh. Why it's just an 80? Then leave alone an 85. You have a perfect example, and that's the rarity about these. You will find probably an 8-back Wind Raider which has edge wear or breaking color breaks on the box or a flap crease on the back. But this one, that is like came out fresh out of the factory. It's like you sit in a time machine, go back for 30 years and buy it on the shelf. That's a perfect example. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with it. And it's almost impossible, like for the other items. Like I said, for 8-back, and generally, it's super, super hard to get, really. And this one, it's amazing. I mean, AFA is harsh on grading. Sometimes they are unfair, in my opinion, and they are grading too hard. And to get an 85 with AFA isn't easy. Especially in the last couple years, they're getting harder and harder. And this example, it's amazing. Probably, like Mark said on the other pieces, that's a top 5 piece in the world. You will not find a 90 grade Wind Raider. They aren't existent. They aren't existent.
Right. So what's interesting, Jeremy, if you look at these different play sets and vehicles, the 8-back collection, which is the first release. And by the way, those that don't collect Masters of the Universe or maybe new, maybe like Jeremy's audience that collect cards, 8-back means there's 8 characters on the back of the box as opposed to 12, which the later releases have 12. These will, if right there, you'll see the 8 original characters on the back, and that distinguishes the fact that it's a first release. So
yeah, right.
That's just something to keep in mind. But if all of these came from the same collection, originally from the original owner got them at Service Merchandise, and if you look at the front of them, they all have the same Service Merchandise sticker in the upper corner, the price tag sticker. This is vintage 82, 83, whenever they were purchased. That's the original sticker, and it matches for all of them, which is pretty unique.
Yeah, that's a nice, cool addition. Which so you have a set which it belongs together. It always stayed together. That's pretty nice.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and talk about the action figures. In general, Ferruccio, when I got involved in collecting this stuff, and I started out on eBay, and I was just buying high grade. I was just looking for a high grade example. I didn't pay attention to yellow bubble and clear bubble. I didn't know that clear even existed. I assumed all of them had turned to yellow. But then, I started talking to you, and I started talking to others, and I saw what you guys were collecting, and I was like, I saw the difference, and I said, man, I need to get into this clear stuff.
Right.
If you're looking, let's use like Stratos, for example, lot 25. This is a clear bubble Stratos, AFA 85, super rare to have all these attributes. If you were to see 20 different examples of Stratos, how many would be clear? How many would be yellow?
20 would be yellow. No, it is really like this. Stratos is one of these characters. There are, in total we have, I think, 74, 75 total characters in the US market. In Europe, we have 2 more or 4 more with the giants. And Stratos and like maybe 10 to 15 others are super extremely hard to get in clear condition, clear bubbles. I don't know what it is about, if it's the material they used and with these characters, but some of them are like 95% are yellow. And Stratos is one of these. Yeah. Like you said, out of 20, probably 20 will be yellow. You need to find like 200 to find 1 or 2 clear. Yeah. And leaving alone in this condition, we have here a 90s upgrade on the figure. We have 80, 85, 90. 90s upgrade on an 8-back clear Stratos. That's amazing. Yeah, it's 85 plus. We're not only talking about 85, it's an 85 plus. That's probably top 5 in the world too. We're talking about some of the best figures out there in terms of condition. So, and this, what you mentioned it about the clear bubbles and yellow bubbles, that's a huge thing for collectors. When I started back in the days, I also didn't take care of it. I was happy with the figure. If it's a yellow bubble or clear bubble, I didn't care about. But when you have like 20 figures on a shelf and 15 are clear and 5 are yellow, you see the difference, and it is not nice. You always look your first sight when you come into a room goes to the yellow bubbles, and you think like, man, that doesn't look good. You can't see the figure, and they look dirty. It's not a nice feeling. And with the clear bubble, you see the figure. It is more a backflash to the 80s, because when you were a child, you didn't saw any yellowed bubbles. Back in the days, they weren't yellow. You have the remembering and the memory in your head on a clear bubble and a nice card. That's what you want to have again. Yeah, it's all about sentimental. Yeah, and you want to have the same thing back because it brings the memories and the same passion again.
So Jeremy's been extremely spoiled in covering these auctions because he's only seen clear. And those that have just, they watch LCG and they don't use other marketplaces or whatever. They're like this is like the best curation you could ever hope for as a collector. To see this many clear in one sale is absolutely unheard of. It's the best pieces from all around the world coming together in one sale, and it's really an amazing selection here.
Yeah.
If you could go back, Jeremy, to the main parts, we'll have Ferruccio maybe pick out a few of the action figures that stand out to him.
Yeah, there is one which I would like to talk about, which is maybe not such a popular figure, but for me, because I know how hard it is to get, it's the Whiplash with the new logo. And
no, right here, I found it.
Yeah, here it is. And you see in the left top corner, you see the new logo, which means that's the first edition of the figure. When a new wave came out, they always come first into the stores with the new logo. Well, then when the first wave, when the first production was sold, they reproduced them without the new logo in the left top corner. So we are talking about a Series 3 Whiplash with new logo, first edition with the clear bubble. And honestly, that's also something. In over 20 years, I maybe saw 2 or 3 of them. And when I saw him into this auction, I was like, man, that's an underrated figure. Not many people knows about the rarity overall, Series 3 is really hard to get with clear bubbles. There are amazing figures like the Battle Armor He-Man, Battle Armor Skeletor, and they're really hard to get. Mechanic, Many Faces. Mechanic is also Series 3, and they are really, really hard to get with clear bubbles. And Whiplash with new logo, super hard to find. And then this probably one of the most underrated items in this auction, because not many collectors knowing about. Only the really experts. And that's like a tip for me. If someone is watching, bid on this figure, you will never find a better one. You will not find a better one ever again.
That's a serious statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I'm sure I can say that.
Yeah. I trust you on that. I mean,
yeah. I'm totally excited about him because he's beautiful. And I never had one in my collection in this. I had one, but he wasn't that clear. He was with super slight yellow tint, but I never was able to find such a clear one.
He's beautiful. Right. He's got a face only a mother could love. He's beautiful. Sorry, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
That's
Jeremy,
right.
We say that
Good point.
We say that this one checks all the boxes with the new logo in the corner, the clear bubble, the high grade. As it relates to cards, I guess it's like the registration is great. The corners are great. The centering's great. Like it's one of those, and it's, this one is like you find a Jackie Robinson Leaf card that's just perfect with great registration and centering and all of that. That's kind of what this Whiplash is. And this one's for advanced collectors that are going after the tough pieces. Whiplash isn't one that comes to mind for a casual collector, but the diehards know who it is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure even with AFA, he would get an 85, 100%. I looked closely into it, and he's really amazing. That's an amazing figure. He's so good.
So Ferruccio, are you a potential bidder on this piece for yourself?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I will think about. Basically, I don't have that much pieces anymore, and the ones I have are really unique. So maybe he could be an addition.
Yeah. He's not going to reveal his hand, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know. I'm putting on the pressure there. Is there another? Oh, sorry, Mark. Unless we're ready to go to another action figure for Ferruccio to.
I was going to say, let's go ahead and put a bow on the Masters of the Universe. We can scroll through. you see clear bubbles throughout, high grades throughout.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that come in and they put a minimum bid on, you know, every item they're the least bit interested in, hoping it stays low and giving themselves a chance in extended bidding. And I think that's a good strategy when it comes to an auction with this format.
We had one question.
Also a pretty nice one. Also a pretty nice one is the last one on the bottom. The last on the bottom. It's a mosquito with a variant comic. And it's the Eternia mini comic inside, which normally only comes with the big Eternia castle. But somehow some comics found the way into this mosquito mock, and he's the only action figure where you can find the Eternia mini comic inside. And the comic alone already hits prices of 300 on the market. And it's, like I said, it's only a comic you can find into the Eternia, into the biggest playset, which is almost impossible to find sealed too. And this one is also in beautiful condition. We have a really old AFA grade without subgrades. And I also looked into it. For me, it is better than an 80. And that's a high desirable version of Mosquito with the Eternia mini comic. That's also a small difference. If you have a normal comic or this variant comic, for me, I always wanted to have this one in my collection, not the normal comic.
So Ferruccio, just the comic by itself, loose, you're telling me that sells for $300?
Loose, used, yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's right.
This one's gonna climb. This one's gonna climb some more. Before we let you go, Ferruccio, we had another question from Jake Dahl. He says, "I was wondering the Stratos, which is rarer or tougher, with the warranty or without the warranty version?" We looked at a Stratos earlier. Can you answer that question?
Yeah, of course I can. Here we have to talk a little bit more about 8-packs, that there are different versions, but I have to say all of them are harder to find, but some came out earlier, some came out later. And yeah, there is a difference also, but that's very specific. Some collectors are looking for it, some not. Like I said, it's an earlier and later version of the 8-packs.
Is it this warranty here that comes on?
Yeah, right. There are earlier versions without this warranty, right?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you have differences into the 8-pack versions.
Okay. All right.
All righty.
But they are all super hard and rare to get. Yeah, we didn't talk about the gift sets.
Oh yeah, we need to go over that for sure, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, that's something also for me personal, very special. I love gift sets, and they were always the best and most exciting part of my collection. And for me, it was always so like I loved the gift sets more than anything else in my collection. I don't know why, but they have like a unique aura to me, and I love them. They're the most beautiful items to me. And here in this auction, we have one really special item, which is the Flying Fist Terra Claw Skeletor gift set. And that's also an item which I only know like 3 or 4 people in the world which has one.
Is that this one here?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, right.
I'll open it up. Okay. Keep talking, Ferruccio.
Yeah. That's also an item I was never able to find on my own. And I can tell you, I had so many pieces in my life, in my collection. Right now, I own a piece which is already known 3 times in the world, but I was never able to get a Terra Claw Skeletor Flying Fist He-Man gift set. This one is amazing. That's also something which hits the market once in 10 years.
Wow.
The pictures do not do this justice. When it's in hand, the box art, the size of this thing, it's really a beautiful piece and makes for a great display. This one has the 2, the superstars of the toy line in the same set. So it could be a case where they don't want to buy the separate action figures, the He-Man and the Skeletor, because that can be very expensive. I mean, this one's going to be expensive too, but you get them both together if you opt for a piece like this with the box art.
Yeah, that's a centerpiece item.
It is a centerpiece for sure. Was this the final time that He-Man and Skeletor were together in a gift set?
Yeah. They are the old ones, the regular version, which came out in Germany as a 2-pack with a cassette tape. And then they made a Battle Armor Skeletor, Battle Armor He-Man set, which came out in Canada and in Great Britain. And then they made the He-Man and Flying Fist He-Man and Terra Claw, which was the last one who came out as a gift set. And for me, it's rarer than the regular version, but not rarer than the Battle Armor 2 set.
So is this the only US release for He-Man and Skeletor in the same pack?
Right. That's the only US release. Right. Because they never had the regular version as a 2-pack in the US, and also not the Battle Armor 2-pack. It was only in Canada and in Great Britain. So that's the only US release where Skeletor and He-Man are together in 1 pack. And super hard to get, really.
Yeah. One thing to note, Jeremy, with these gift sets, these are super condition sensitive. Let's talk about like the Honus Wagner, where, let's throw the PSA 8 out because it's trimmed. What's the next highest one? A 4?
There's a 5 miscut. That's
right.
Pretty...
So
yeah,
super condition sensitive. These gift sets are similar. Most that you see are completely destroyed. So to find an AFA red label, which means unopened, and this like 75 is really like 85 condition when it comes to gift sets, right, Ferruccio?
Yeah, that's right. I remember especially on this gift set, someone found one behind a shelf, which it was sitting for like 20 years behind a shelf, and it was like missing pieces and deteriorated, and it was an awful condition. The window was off, and it was like almost destroyed, and it sold for like $9,000. Yeah, when we would give it a grade, it was probably a 20. Yeah. And this set is so rare and hard to find, and to me, it's hard to give it a 75 because it looks pretty good. And also the yellow grade, I don't understand, because I can see the figure pretty clear. I can't see any yellowing. That's really hard to grade it yellow, really.
It does have a small tint to it, a light tint to it, I should say. But with
super light.
It's very light, yes.
To me, it's not yellow. If I have it sitting on my shelf, I can see yellowing. I see clearly the figures. That's an amazing item, and you don't need to say like I'm not attracted by it because it has a yellow grade, because it displays clear. Really displays clear.
Looks clear to me from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Piggybacking on that, Ferruccio, let's go back, Jeremy, let's do one more gift set, the Hordak Grizzlor gift set. That one is somehow also assigned a Y. And let's go to one of the pictures. Let's scroll through the photos on this, Jeremy. We've taken some photos where we demonstrate the clarity of the window, and you'll be able to judge for yourself whether that's clear or yellow. It's
but it's not the first time that I see an item graded yellow which I couldn't see any yellowing on it. And that's also one of these, because you can see clearly here the Hordak and Grizzlor spelling. You can see through the window. There is no yellowing. It's totally white. There is no yellowing on it.
Oh, look right there.
So,
there's no yellow that I can see.
No.
Right there again.
No, I this one may have been a mistake when they put the label on it, because the other one has a very slight tint. This one is clear. I mean,
Yeah.
the photos are clear here. We put it up against the background from different angles. There's no yellowing here. And
Yeah, and
this
here
is
also we have amazing subgrades, 90s on the figures, 85 on the window, 80 on the box. That's also a piece in these conditions, maybe 2 or 3 in 20 years. Super hard.
Wow. This is a cool piece. I've never heard of a Hordak or Grizzlor, but
Yeah. And there is also a special comic inside which you only find into this box.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's got a cassette tape. This is a large piece. This is like a centerpiece type item on the shelf, Jeremy. And Hordak is he's actually the main character after Skeletor as a villain. He was like one of the main character in the movie, right, Ferruccio?
Yeah, Hordak is one of the leaders. We have 4 leaders, basically, He-Man, Skeletor, then Hordak and King Hiss. Hordak is the leader of the Horde, and the Horde has a lot of fans. Yeah, the fan community, because they have really cool characters like Grizzlor, Mosquito, Montero. They have like iconic characters which everyone had as a kid. I mean, who doesn't remember Grizzlor? He was like a teddy bear, you know. You had an action figure and a teddy bear in one. And yeah, he's pretty loved, and Hordak is one of the leaders of Masters of the Universe. We only have 4 leaders, and that's an iconic pack. Yeah, really, and also cool. Into the movies and into the cartoons, Hordak and Grizzlor are always together. They are always side by side.
And in the box art on this one, you have He-Man on the box art as well, which is very appealing. As a collector.
Yeah, you have the Fright Zone on the back, which is the castle of the Horde. And then the battle of between Hordak and Grizzlor and He-Man. The artworks are amazing on these boxes. That's also something which brought me so many times back into my childhood, looking on these boxes, on the artworks. And yeah, it's just great. And I must say that Masters of the Universe have become a great part of my life. I learned, I met so many people, friends, built new friendships over it, and it's great. It's great. It brings so many people together, and the passion for a hobby.
That's awesome.
Including Jeremy, that's what brought Ferruccio, and that's how we met, is through collecting Masters of the Universe. He was kind of a mentor to me when like I said, I didn't know the difference between clear and yellow. I didn't know what to collect, what was desirable, what to stay away from, and he took a lot of time and he helped guide me, and I'll certainly be forever grateful for that. But he has a lot of knowledge. He's been around a long time, and thank you so much for staying up late and helping us out.
It was a pleasure to help you, and it was a pleasure to be here with you. Whenever you want, I'm here again.
Thank you.
Wish you a good night. And to everyone, I can just say, bid on these items. If you want amazing items, that's your chance to get some unique pieces. Jeremy, thank you. I could be your guest. Wish you a nice evening.
Nice to meet you, Ferruccio. All the best. Check out Toyplosion, the vintage toy show in Germany.
Toyplosion, most powerful retro toy show. Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening.
Thank
you.
Bye. Bye-bye. All right, Mark. Well, that was great. What a knowledgeable fellow he is. What would you like to look at next? I'm going to go back to all categories. You want to look through the platinum lots, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, let's scroll through the platinum lots. I guess we can jump right to. I guess we'll cover lot number 1. I don't know too much about this, but there's a lot of information in the description. But it's a prototype Ben Kenobi. There's 4 of these in the world, from what I understand. We connected with a collector in Texas that has one that was offered $60,000 in 2020 and turned it down. It's the mushroom tips prototype lightsaber. He's hand painted on the head. He's got a shinier body. He's got a prototype cape that's different from the production cape. This is, for Star Wars fans. They're looking for these rare pieces. This is definitely one of them. There's a lot of information in the description. It's got an additional letter of certificate of authenticity from CIB, which specializes in these type of these prototypes. We started this one low at 2,500. By the way, there's no reserves whatsoever on any item. So this item could get no more bids and it's going to go where it's at. And that's true for every item. No reserve, no minimums on any item. So keep that in mind. Really cool piece. They in the description, it stated that something like this was likely used at a toy show or a toy fair in the late 70s, because there's glue or adhesive under one of the feet to kind of make him stand up. So whether it was at a toy fair or an early photo shoot, it was used, something like that. But very early on, this is a pre-production piece from what I understand. The Star Wars guys are going to know a lot more than me about it. But it's definitely exciting for the Star Wars community to see something like this come to market.
That's really cool. Only 4 known in the world. That's extraordinary. Congratulations on offering it.
Yeah. So let's dive into the Apple items. Sure. I believe we have 8 total Apple items, but we have every one of the first generation iPhones. There were 4 releases of first generation. The 2 first release are really unique here. Lot number 4, which is the 4 gigabyte model, the same model that sold for $190,000 in the summer. That's the same one as this. This one is pristine, as you can see. It comes with the original Apple Store receipt. It comes with the original Apple Store bag. It's from the original owner. Such a cool piece. Like, this is really, the guy that bought the last one, he had a special case constructed. He wanted the measurements before it went out to him. And this is a guy that collects fine artwork and the best of the best. The people that are bidding on this kind of item, if this item was $25,000, they wouldn't even be interested. This is for somebody that wants, a talking piece, something that others don't have. And condition matters for these. I think that's what's going to separate these iPhones. If we see them come out, you may see some that aren't in great condition, but something like this is awesome, displayable. When they start grading them, which I think they will later this year, it's going to be assigned a very, very high grade. And that's what's going to, we're looking for differentiators, what separates the population, and condition is going to definitely be something. And for this one is not only the condition, but it's that receipt that comes with it. It adds to the provenance, gives you a little something different and something special that was different than the last one.
Purchased in, I think I saw South Carolina on the receipt. Here's the receipt right. There's the back of the receipt. Let's go to the front of it for a moment. I'll just go this way. Yeah. Oh, Charlotte, North Carolina.
August 12th, 2007. So shortly after the launch, before it was discontinued. I think it was discontinued on September the 5th. That's why the 4 gigabyte is so rare, because it was discontinued only 2 months in. I thought we would maybe get a handful of them after the last sale. The last sale was so high. That's what brings these pieces out of the woodwork. And we just didn't. And this one arrived last minute. I didn't know about it beforehand. The guy contacts us and says, "Oh, I've got one with the receipt." And I'm thinking, "Oh, it's another open box one," because that's what 99% of these that come to us are. And he showed the photos, and it was like, "Oh, we got to get this one in. Let's do it. If you can overnight it, we can get it in." And we got it in last second. So really cool item. It's only at $24,200 right now. You got to have an initial bid in to have the option. It's at a good spot to give yourself the option, I guess, without really totally being committed to it.
Right. Well, and the estimate at the bottom here, 175 to 225, we're sitting only at 24,200. So I think what you're saying is, if you put in a bid right now, you'll have the option, but you're likely to be outbid between now and the 29th.
Most likely, and no reserve on it whatsoever. So it's going to sell for whatever it sells for. The next item is very unique too. Also a first release. So the 4 gig is the first release. The 8 gig is the first release as well. Item number 5, Jeremy, in the original shipping box, it has not been removed. It's still sealed. If you look at we have not opened this yet, by the way. It's still in the factory, not the factory, the FedEx shipper. FedEx worked with Apple in shipping these out. You can see the return address is Apple's address in California. It's got the model number on the shipping box. It's got I think it's got the launch date on the shipping box as well. If you scroll down, Jeremy, down and to the right a little bit, I think we'll see June 29th on there.
Yeah,
see 2007-06-29 ship date. That's the launch date for the original iPhone. So this has it on the label. Really cool to have the box. The consignor has authorized us to open it. He feels, who's going to bid on a cardboard box? There's something in the box that's very valuable, an untouched first release 8 gigabyte iPhone. It's probably the best example that's ever come to market. You got to think that, being that it's still sealed in the original box. We have something planned where we're going to open it. We're finalizing some things with one of the Apple media companies to get this done, where we'll get it on video. We'll post the photos of it outside of the box. We'll have the video link. We'll have all of that. So this is going to be a cool one to watch and to see where it ends up. Again, I think it's going to be the best example that we've seen yet of the 8 gigabyte first release.
Wow, that's really neat. Someone did reach out to me the other day and say, how do we know that it's in the box? I said, well, that's a great question. We'll ask it on Wednesday here. And I didn't even have to ask it. You went right into it. And you well exceeded my expectation on the answer. Instead of saying, well, I mean, it's just, look, you see the return address and the ship date. No, you're going to open it and videotape it and work with Apple media on that. So that's really cool. Very exciting. I want a quick hello here to Orlando Collector's Dream and Chad Shipper in Florida. Good to see you, Chad. Thanks for joining. Very interesting stuff here on LCGauctions.com to register and bid. All right, you ready to go to the next one then, Mark?
Yeah, I can kind of scroll through them. The number 7 is it's also an 8 gig, but the 8 gig, they changed the front of the box to include an iTunes icon. So instead of 12 icons on the front box, this one has 13. So this one also premiered in 2007. I think what happened is when they discontinued the 4 gig, they changed the box design of the 8 gig. That was the only one available for until I think early February. So September through early February, only the 8 gig was available. And I think it was most of them, they had turned over to this new box design. So this is a genuine 2007 8 gigabyte release. Factory sealed, great condition on this one too. And it's sitting, I think, at just $5,000. We have this one going as high as what, 40 or 50,000. Yeah, 30 to 50,000. This is a great opportunity to get in on a first release 8 gigabyte, pretty on the cheap. So,
yeah.
So let's keep an eye on this one.
Neat. It was neat to see the old YouTube logo there. I kind of forgot about that. Right there, you can see it on the box.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go back and then lot number 8. Very interesting. So this one is the one that came out in February of 2008. It's the last of the first generation models. It's a 16 gig. So they doubled the capacity from 8 gig to 16 gig. This one came out February 2008. The owner of this one consigned 2 different items. Her father would buy extra electronics for the kids. and there was stuff that was never given out and, found at the family home. And one of these was this 16 gigabyte iPhone that was still in the shipper box. Now they had opened the shipper box already, but they just used it to store the phone in there. So this is actually the original shipping box that when they ordered it from I believe they ordered it from the Apple online store, because it includes like the packing receipt as well. But this has some extra items included in the shipper box. It's got the packing label from Apple as well, which has matching serial numbers that match the phone. That's unique to that specific phone. To me, this is a great item, that's not going to go as high as the first releases, but it's great to have, if you want one for your collection, to get in on it and have this one's a amazing condition. I mean, they didn't take it out and mess with it, and it's almost like it was just opened out of the shipper box. Really nice.
Well, and
no
there's
bids.
So the first bid will be 2,500, and if it gets the one bid, that's what it'll sell for.
Right. We've sold 2 of these 16 gigabyte in the past, and they've averaged out to, I believe, $18,000.
So we'll see some bids. We'll see. There's still just under 11 days left. This auction ends on Sunday, October 29th, and we'll be live here to cover. We'll start an hour before extended bidding starts, and we'll go through extended bidding. Should take about an hour and a half or 2 hours or so. So that'll be a fun one. Mark, I want to ask about an item here, because I noticed, first of all, this looks like an employee anniversary award for a 20-year Apple employee. That's a pretty interesting piece. Has a bid already, and the first iPod. I mean, we're so enamored by the iPhone, but the iPod was the predecessor in a way to the iPhone. I wonder if there wasn't ever an iPod, would they ever have gone to the iPhone? And what does that mean to you?
I mean, this is kind of like the first handheld Apple collectible. First of all, the first release in 5 gigabyte is so hard to find. Usually you'll see them in 10 gigabyte. The 5 is the true first release, factory sealed. Rally had one that they sold in August for $29,000. That's the last sale that I'm aware of. And here, here's the one that we have in this auction, sitting at $5,000, waiting on a bid. The box design is classic Apple. It's got the product on 2 panels. It's got the iPod name on it, and at the top it's got the Apple logo. Super cool display piece, factory sealed. The seal is perfect, by the way. And it's just, everybody opened these, Jeremy. Nobody thought to save this.
Oh, for sure. And the award, do we know who the employee was? Did it come from the employee who received it, or what's the story behind that piece?
Yes, it came from the employee, although it does not have a full name on it, which is really cool from a collecting standpoint, to be able to get kind of a nondescript one. The employee could choose what to label it, and she said just label it A. I guess A for Apple, or A for an A+ employee. But it's got the 20 on the side. This thing is beautiful. It's like 7.5 pounds. It's made out of like the same materials they use for the iMac computer, the laptops. I think it has the date when the award was given out, and the Apple logo on the front is like a reflective mirror. This thing is like super high end, really, really nice display piece. It's got the measurements in the description. It's got a note from Tim Cook, the CEO. It's got all the original packing materials. Just a really cool. Sometimes you see the 10-year awards hit the market, but the 20-year awards are really, really tough. So this one is LCG material for sure.
That's really cool. Back to the sealed iPhone. sealed in this shipping box. CC said, if I were buying it, I would for sure open the FedEx box. Sounds like you'll have a great box opening party. Yeah, that's such a cool thing. This is really cool and interesting. I got to tell you though, my favorite item might be the Sega Game Gear, Mark. I've got my Game Gear sitting right. It's right back there. It's behind the Pac-Man Atari cartridge. But I have my original Game Gear still from back then. It's not sealed. It's been opened and used, but this is really, really cool to me. I love it.
Me too. And I remember when these came out, like we had the Game Boy already, and now here's something in color. Here's something you can watch TV on. Now the battery life was not great, as you remember. But you know, this was Nintendo's kind of first handheld rivalry. I know there was a color system for Atari or something, but it wasn't as like widespread or mainstream as this was. This had Sonic, this had Streets of Rage, this had other games. And you usually, when you see these, when I've seen them factory sealed, I always see the later versions. The box design is not this. This is the first release with the columns game, which I guess was similar to Tetris. I'm not super familiar with it, but the later releases came with Sonic and the box changed from one to another. But this is the very first and it's factory sealed. Now, Jeremy, this came from the same find, you know, the woman that sent in the 16 gig iPhone that her dad would buy and store away. This was part of that. Wow. So this kind of thing does not hit the market. I've only seen one sell ever. It was an ungraded version, and it was not in 85 condition for sure. 85 is exceptional for a factory sealed console. And this is the Game Gear example to have right here. No doubt about it.
It's really cool. Really cool. The Atari put out the Lynx was their handheld. I think their first handheld. I have one of those behind me as well. Actually opened, not worth anything because they're open, but they're still really cool display pieces. Okay, what would you like to talk about next?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. We'll cover a lot of this in the extended bidding watch party that we'll do. So, you know, if we leave a few things out, it's because we have some time constraints here, but we'll have much more time during the extended bidding period. But there's so much. There's a factory sealed Technodrome 85. Let's go to the GI Joes real quick, Jeremy, because I do have some of the population numbers that really nobody knows about because AFA has not put out their list publicly, but they've shared some of these with us. First, I've got to comment on lot number 13, which is kind of the signature GI Joe, Snake Eyes with Timber. This is the only 36 back release in AFA 95. This is the only one, the highest grade, none equivalent. There's no others. This is the highest grade in this example, bar none.
I don't think I've ever seen 95 on an LCG auction in anything before. Like that seems super high.
Well, we did have a Cobra Commander 95, Jeremy, that sold for $37,000. Here's, you know, that's the main bad guy, and this is kind of the main good guy. This is kind of a, you know, you buy with investment in mind kind of thing when you're getting into the 95 stuff. But, you know, this one at the price where it's at, only one bid is a little bit shocking to me, to be quite honest, because this is the most popular piece that the most popular action figure that GI Joe ever put out is this specific one.
Wow.
And this is a population 1 in AFA 95 for this 36 back release. I verified that with AFA.
That's cool. That's really good information. Is that information in the description? I'm guessing it must be.
I don't think it is yet because I just confirmed that today.
Okay.
So it's a first reveal on the Sports Card Live show, but right. we will be updating all of the population items, I believe, over the weekend. So next Monday, going into the final week, we'll have that in the newsletter, and you can go to each item and see. But it'll be for the main items only. We weren't able to obtain them for every item. But let's go back some of these play sets and vehicles, I'll just run through them. Lot 14, I've never seen a better example for this. The Cobra Terradrome. It's the main Cobra playset. There's the USS Flag. There's the Defiant, and then there's the Terradrome. And to find an 80 plus condition is awesome. There are 2 AFA 85s. I have never seen them, and those that I asked about them have never seen them either. So those are buried. But here's the next best one, an 80 plus. And I believe it's the highest grade that Kaz has assigned. It also comes with the original shipper. It's like a shipping sleeve that went over the play set. So they would pull this out and then put it on display at the toy store. And it's a big piece. It's got the measurements, but it comes with the shipping sleeve, and it's a centerpiece for sure. It's got all the kind of the main characters you want on the box art on the front. Super cool.
Very cool. All right. What would you like to look at next?
Yeah. So only 2 examples higher than this one for lot 14. Lot 15 is a very, very popular, and you never see the factory sealed examples come to market. That's the Cobra Rattler jet. Really hard to find. One of the best collectors I know. He's got an 80, I believe, but it's a Q, which means the box has been opened. This one is factory sealed. It came to us ungraded, so we submitted it for grading. So this is a brand new grade. It came out a 75 plus. It's a solid box. I think the main blemish is on the top, so you don't really, when it's displayed, you don't see that, but it presents beautifully. I remember this one as a kid. This is one of the first ones that I had. So it speaks to me. There's only 11 graded total across all grades. So one of the most coveted pieces. There's only 11 of them. I think this one's going to do really well.
Let's see what it's at right now. 3,661. Rage remembers these pieces. Wishes he hung onto them in great shape. No doubt, Rage. Good to see you. Okay. What's next, Bark?
I mean, I'm going to have to go over some of these vehicles. I'll kind of skim over them. I'm going to give you just the population data up in the top corner. The Mauler, according to AFA, they said the 85 is the highest graded. So this is the best example that you're going to get according to AFA. They said there's none higher than 85, and here it is. The box art on this one glow, like it's tremendous. So this is a great opportunity to pick up, the best of the best. Lot 125, the Vamp, it's a 75, a 1982 release, so it's Series 1. It's very hard to find it with the straight arm clutch. This means the arms basically were straight and couldn't swivel, Jeremy. I think they switched the characters in later releases. So to find the straight arm version, it's only at 605. It's going to do well. This one's going to really pop, I think, because it's one that no one has. So it's going to do well. And right next to it's the Ram, also from 1982, also a Series 1. And then the Dragonfly, awesome piece. We sold the AFA 85, and it went for a record at the time for any G.I. Joe vehicle. So here's a 75, not quite the same example, but another super popular piece. And then if you scroll down quickly, we have the action figures. We have, Snake Eyes from 1982, just so much in great condition. Something for everybody. We have opening bids of $100 on a lot of these. So, they're affordable in any price range, whether you're going to the high stuff that starts at $5,000 or the stuff that starts at $100. And a lot of times it's good to just, if you're new to it, to grab one, put it on your shelf, and you start rolling from there. That's what I did as a collector. You get one and you start to learn, and then you dive into this stuff.
It can be addictive too, right? I mean, this is especially if you have the connection to it, which I don't know who doesn't. You know, I don't know what the what's the youngest you could be right now to have a connection to GI Joe.
I think like 38 years old or so would be probably the
Yeah.
starting point.
Yeah.
Where maybe you'd have them at I think like 1986 is when it peaked in popularity and maybe hung around to 87. So if you were, 4 years old by that time, you definitely identify with it.
There's still, I mean, I go to Toys R Us here. We have Toys R Us up here, and there's a GI Joe section. So obviously, it's still getting shelf space, meaning that there's still people collecting it, young people, I would think. So, is there another category you'd like to look at?
Yeah, let's scroll through. What do we have? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles we can touch on real quick. We can kind of just the Technodrome is really the trophy piece. Technodrome in 85, and it's a legit 85. The pictures don't do it justice. This thing is awesome. A lot of what you see is reflection of the case. But yeah, this one would certainly cross over to AFA, in my opinion, to be an 85 AFA. It's 85 CAS. But I don't believe there's any graded higher than 85. And an 85 just doesn't ever hit the market. And this is like the play set for Ninja Turtles. And as you know, Ninja Turtles as a franchise is here to stay.
Going strong.
Going strong. So in this category, we have item 113, which is a Toys R Us exclusive. The Channel 6 news van, that's a great example of that. And going down, we have a bunch of first release figures in AFA 85 condition. These are really, really nice. And it's kind of, we didn't include the original 4 Turtles or Shredder or Splinter. We went for kind of the secondary characters and kind of built around that. But it's a great opportunity to pick up a lot of the first releases or early releases in high grade, clear bubbles as well.
Casey Jones, I'm familiar with Casey Jones. Seems like that he was a main. Yeah, this Channel 6 news van is really cool. Yeah. All right, so let's see. We've covered Apple, we've covered He-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, GI Joe. We should probably look at Star Wars and Transformers before we sign off here.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to Transformers, and then we'll wrap with Star Wars. And like I said, we're going to get through all of this stuff in the extended bidding coverage, and give it its just due. But here we have, I mean, our Platinum Transformers is just an amazing selection. Lot 29 was kind of the first big piece that we sold at LCG. In the very first auction, we sold this very example. It went for over $20,000. This was 3 years ago, over 3 years ago, or I guess over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Awesome example. I feel like this should be an 85 overall grade. It's got no flap crease. It's really nice. It's the first release of Soundwave, which is super tough. The owner of this one that purchased, that was the winner, he somehow made a massive deal to acquire an AFA 85. So he upgraded. That is the only reason why this piece and why the Megatron are in this auction, because one of the top collectors of Transformers was able to upgrade to 2 mammoth pieces. If you remember, the Megatron last auction sold for almost $58,000. This guy upgraded to I'm not going to say if he bought that one, but he upgraded to an 85. And he's got both an 85 Soundwave and an 85 Megatron now.
Wow.
So he consigned what he had in his personal collection because he upgraded, and now they're available. So we have the Soundwave lot 29. We have the Megatron lot 31. Factory sealed Megatron, red label. These are out there, but they're buried in collections. We never see the red label. Like I said, the last one we sold went for 57,000 and change. Here we have an AFA 80, so not quite the same caliber of grade, 5 points lower, but look at the subgrades, no 75s on there, 80, 85, 85. Display is great. It's not going to go for $57,000, but those that are in the next tier, it's one that they can look at. Really nice, and great opportunity to acquire something that you just don't have a chance to acquire. The Omega Supreme playset, factory sealed. I can't tell you how tough these are, like once in a decade pieces. I think the next lot 34, the last one sold over 3 years ago. So we're kind of spoiled by the selection that we have at LCG, but yeah, these pieces are great. And then we have all the cars, we have some jets, we have some Dinobots, all the popular items that people love. Also, lot 157, the Skylinks. This is a large box piece that came from the original owner, who kept it factory sealed since, I guess, childhood. Yeah. He sent in both the Skylinks and he sent in the Omega Supreme, which both of these factory sealed in AFA 80 or better. I mean, get out of here. Like, that's where you have to find them, is this guy who kept them as a child, which is unheard of. But yeah, this has never been offered for sale before. This particular example, fresh to market, it's going to do well. But definitely some excitement in the Transformers category.
All right, and let's have a look at Star Wars. And Star Wars is a big 50 items in there, which makes sense. Often the most items in Star Wars. Anything you want to look at in particular? Lucky Charms, a Lucky Charms box. That's interesting.
Yeah, so the first 2 rows are really nice. We don't have to jump into the detail of each, but I'll just skim over them. Lot 30, we went over lot number 1, which is the prototype. So lot 37 is actually, I believe, the retail release that was the double telescoping retail example of the sabers. Now, like the last Ben Kenobi carded double telescoping lightsaber went for like $80,000. And I think the Vader went for around $80,000 years ago, carded. This is the opened one. The open ones are still super rare. This one, you get the set of all 3. You get the Ben Kenobi, you get the Luke Skywalker, and the Vader all cased together with each lightsaber, which is a double telescoping lightsaber, correct for each character. It's a really cool piece. These sell for, I believe, over 5 figures each. With the Vader, I believe the Vader goes for around $20,000 by itself. But the Star Wars collectors, they know about this piece. The Star Wars collectors are notorious, by the way, for waiting late in the auction to snipe stuff at the end. So I think this one's going to get some action as we get closer to the extended bidding. Lot 38 is an interesting one that this is actually the very first Star Wars action figure release. When it was released at retail, the figures were not completed, and they issued like an envelope that you could buy at the store. So you'd buy this envelope. Inside the envelope had a mail-in redemption that you would then redeem for lot 38. They came in this tray. They came with a couple inserts, and this one has the original tray with the figures still sealed. It's got the inserts included, and it's got the original shipping box from early 1978. Yeah, so this is the very first kind of retail release of Star Wars, mail-in redemption, and it's 4 figures together. And this one's unique in that it came with the Luke Skywalker with the double telescoping lightsaber. So that separates it from the regular lightsaber that most of these kits were issued with. And this one's labeled on the AFA label. DT Saber transition kit. So really cool piece of history.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about the Lucky Charms box.
The Lucky Charms box is something we wanted to throw in there. It's from 1978. So the first year that the toys were released at retail. It's got, I believe, a glider redemption. So on the front of the box, it's got the little burst in the bottom corner, and on the back is a full back of Star Wars. And Star Wars collectors are always going after these kind of unique pieces where Star Wars is depicted in pop culture. And here it is on a cereal box. And I'm sure the actual gliders are very collectible too. This is just the box. So you've got all the box art. You have a cool display piece, and it's original from 1978.
Yeah, it's really neat. I like how on the back of it, it showed the Boo Berry, the Frankenberry. These I used to eat these cereals as a kid, so that's neat to see right there. All right, let's go. Let's just kind of scroll through the rest of these and just we'll go into them on the 29th, unless there's something that you do want to highlight.
Yeah, I'll just give a summary. I mean, we have rare display pieces in high grade, like store displays. We have like there's the bin. This thing is huge, by the way. The picture is a little misleading, but if you look at the dimensions on this is a really big piece. The condition is exceptional. So one of the, an original 1978 display piece that you would see in the store. These are really popular with Star Wars collectors, the display pieces. And we have, I believe, 3 or 4 display pieces in this auction. So yeah, this has the original 12 characters on the front of the box. It's got the side panels with the Star Wars logo. We have photos from all sides that you can check out, and it's graded. It's encased. Beautiful piece.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we've got vehicles. We've got the 12-inch Boba Fett. We've got a gift set next to it. We've got Boba Fett's original spaceship, factory sealed. All of this stuff is factory sealed, professionally graded. We have the original 1978 releases, the 12 action figures that were released originally. We have even a Canada release for you, Jeremy, a Jawa from Canada with a unique square bubble instead of the typical bubble that you find. But so much quality AFA 85 stuff from the first releases to the later releases. It's got something for everybody. Stuff that opens at $150 up to a $20,000 opening for the double telescoping saber figures.
So cool. A couple of questions came in. CC, many VHS tapes. Well, let's just quickly go to the VHS video game. 24 items in this category, including the Game Gear we looked at, Ghostbusters, pre-Rambo, First Blood, right before Rambo came out. It's got some Terminators, Goodfellas, Child's Play, Lethal Weapon. I mean, God, we've seen all these movies. Home Alone, American Tail, Stand By Me. That Batman box is cool. Total Recall, Home Alone 2, E.T., Jurassic Park, Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Conehead. So we have some of that. And then Rage asked about Thundercats. Let's just go take a quick look at Thundercats.
Under Ghostbusters.
Right up here.
Ghostbusters Superpowers. Yeah, it would be in there. I believe we only have one Thundercats example for this in this auction. By the way, the Ghostbusters, there's 4 Ghostbusters. Let me touch on that real quick. These are the first release Ghostbusters, the 4 characters, all in amazing condition. All first releases from 1986.
Huh.
This is like, you never see this set available together at once in this kind of grade. I remember these when I was a kid. This is the very first release. There's a lot of differences between the first release and the later releases. So this is a great opportunity for somebody to pick up a full set of these.
Wow.
The back of the card is unique, really cool. But we couldn't scroll past the Ghostbusters without me saying something.
Yeah, that's really cool. Super I do love these cards as well. The
Oh, yeah.
superpower cards, I love those. I love the yellow and the blue and the orange. You got Batman, you got Flash, Green Lantern. Oh, you got all the big guys there. Secret Wars. Starting lineup. Look at that. GoBots. Some more starting lineup, some WWF.
Yeah, there was actually a Thundercats. We have a mail-in redemption Mumra on the lot 57.
Right here. Yeah, right there.
This one came from a sealed case. So it received an uncirculated grade, AFA 85, really high. You usually, when you see these, a lot of times the bag that encases the action figure, a lot of times it's like clouded and it doesn't present very well. This particular example, the bag is crystal clear. I can't tell you how difficult that is to find, but the bag's crystal clear, so you can see the figure perfectly. It's got the original mailing box. It's got the figure still sealed in the plastic, and it's got the booklet, the insert that was included in the box. So that's the Thundercats item that we have. We're hoping to have more Thundercats in the future. So if you're interested in consigning some premium Thundercats items, we'd be interested in taking those. And I see Jeremy's ventured into the Beanie Baby and Barbie world.
I'm curious.
You probably know more about the Beanie Babies than I do, but I
don't know. I don't. I mean, I remember hearing about the Princess Diana, the Peace Bear, those guys. But these Barbies aren't just Barbies. You got the Harley Davidson, you got the Wizard of Oz, the Grease, Olivia Newton-John right there. Rest in peace. Wizard of Oz stuff. I mean, LCG, just what a selection. Like, I'm going to spend some time and looking through it all a bit more, but really, just really cool stuff, Mark. Really, really cool stuff overall. I think we got to see most of the categories here, if not all of them. So yeah, I think we did.
Let's go real quick to the mask stuff. That's the last one we didn't get to. This all came from a single collection, and I kind of wish Ferruccio was still with us, because he is familiar with M.A.S.K, and there's a lot of European M.A.S.K collectors. And this stuff, it's hard to find factory sealed in any condition. And this was a world-class collection that came to us all at once. Some of them came ungraded that we submitted for grading. We have the Rhino in 85. We have a Boulder Hill in 80 plus. The Boulder Hill is the highest graded first release in the hobby. There's no 85 first release Boulder Hill. So this is the highest. The Thunderhawk's doing really well so far. That Switchblade, lot 73, it's graded a 75, but please check it out because it's in exceptional condition. But all of these really hard to get. And we had M.A.S.K in our last auction, and it did really well. So we wanted to bring it back for this one. And so we'll see how this category does. And this is just stuff. Who knows how many years it took for this collector to amass this collection. And it's one of those things where he was finally ready to part with it, and here it is being offered.
Yeah, well, it's already doing pretty well from what I can see. So looks good. Bids on almost all the items. A few don't have, but like not just a single bid on several of these. So really, really good stuff. Awesome, man. Well, listen, the auction ends in just under 11 days from now. So Sunday the 29th, lcgauctions.com. Go there, register to bid on some items. And you have to bid in order to qualify for extended bidding. Very important. So go put in bid the minimum bid you can for any item that you may be interested in bidding on during extended bidding. We will be live taking questions, comments on the 29th, and that's going to happen. We're going to go live at what time? I believe 4 o'clock Eastern. We're going to go live, and we'll be on for a couple hours talking about these items, and we'll even be on an hour before extended bidding, so we'll be able to kind of look at where some opportunities may lie through extended bidding. So please come back and join us on the 29th. anything you'd like to say to wrap up?
Yeah. If you don't follow us, go to the website, go to the bottom of the page, enter your email address, and you'll start receiving the LCG newsletter, which has a lot of previews, which has news. You'll be the first to learn about a lot of things. And of course, we also have Instagram and all the social medias are all at LCG Auctions. So follow us there. This auction is, like I said at the intro, it's the best collection of these type of items that we've had come to the marketplace at once. I don't know how we're going to top this. We'll do our best going forward, but this one is one to pay attention to, and it's a great opportunity to pick up some really, really unique items.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Mark, thanks to Ferruccio, who was with us earlier, Master of the Universe expert. And let's wrap up. So thanks everybody for joining. And that's it. We'll see you on the 29th when we're in extended bidding for the LCG Pop Culture Fall Auction. We'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody. We're